Tell the Tea, where we put a face to the hospitality industry. There has been a lot going on in the industry this week, and so many things I really want to catch up on. The big thing that people are thinking about is that the United States federal government ended the 18-month travel ban for visitors from Europe, the UK, and other nations like India, Brazil, and China. It begins in November. Okay, so it's not like you can run out today, but it begins in November. The international traveler is to just show proof of a completed COVID-19 vaccination before boarding. Basically, you have to have both the first and the second shot, if in fact you went with like Pfizer or Moderna. I don't think Johnson & Johnson is still out, but you have to have proof that you completed both vaccines. And also, returning vaccinated Americans still must show a negative COVID test taken within 3 days. Now, that's a new rule because the new rules, they have to do with rapid or PCR tests, like within a few days before arrival. At first, you just had to carry, a test showing that, yeah, you got it before you left the United States. Now you have to also show proof within 3 days, not 7 days of returning to the United States. And a second thing is unvaccinated Americans. Now, unvaccinated Americans returning need a negative result on that test taken, not 3 days, 1 day before departure, 1 day. And they need to prove that they've also purchased a viral test to take after returning home. So you can't say, oh, I'll get one when I get home into the Walgreens. There's one right around the corner. No, you have to have already proven that you've purchased that. So you purchase it before you get on the flight. Then the airline, just so you know up front, they are required now, they are mandated to collect contact tracing information. So, if someone asks you that, don't do #bad behavior and say, why do you want my information? You're traveling still during a pandemic, and give them the information that's necessary. Another thing, in international news, HospiTellTheTEA is bringing you all the information. In international news, United Airlines has already said that they're going to begin nonstop service between Washington, Dulles. Now, listen, I used to live in DC. Dulles is the one far out. Reagan is the one right in DC. So don't get excited. Washington, Dulles is the further one out, okay? Technically in Virginia. So they're beginning nonstop service between Washington, Dulles and Lagos, Nigeria, November 29th. So it'll be nonstop directly from the US to Nigeria. Also, United Airlines is starting their flights directly from Newark, New Jersey to Cape Town, South Africa, December 1st. Chicago to Reykjavik, Iceland, May 26th. Newark to Dubrovnik, May 27th. So May has two transatlantic flights that are starting back up. This is all in light of the announcement this week. They've already announced this is where we're going to do it. They would start these flights immediately, but they have to have people trained. They have to have, staff. You kind of want a pilot to fly the plane. Also, Dulles is creating a transatlantic direct flight from Dulles to Athens, Greece. Now, if you board that one starting June 3rd, you just may see me. So just letting you know. Another thing that I wanted to let you know, San Francisco, California, San Francisco International Airport is the nation's United States' first major airport that is now requiring that each employee be COVID vaccinated. For all workers at the airport, regardless. They started that this week. They are the first airport to require that. There are exemptions for medical or religious reasons, of course, but those employees that get those exceptions, they must be vaccinated. They must be tested every single week. So they said that failure to comply could result in fines under the airport's rule and regulations. So that's interesting. That's something I don't know if other airports will follow, but those are some bits of information to open the show today with HospiTellTheTEA. I wanted to see if you recognize the common thread. It's universal. It's global. It's HospiTellTheTEA going all over the world, which leads us to segment 2 with our amazing guests. We have 2 guests here from the United Arab Emirates, a guest here from Munich. I mean, goodness. And to think we all met in the Lone Star State of Texas, Austin to be exact. So I'd like to bring them on the screen and introduce these amazing people to you. I have a little bit that I want to show you first that they themselves don't even know about. First, I'd like to bring on Janine Arari. She is beautiful and amazing. I want to introduce you to her. Hello, Janine. How are you today? Let me move that off your face. How are you today?
Hi, guys. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Yes, thank you for being here. I wanted to share a little bit about your property and you. This way. Here we go. If it will. Wonderful Janine, and some photos of her fabulous property. Keep it in line so that I can get all 3 of you amazing people on here. Of course, with ladies first. Let me bring the fantastic Steffi Rectorick here. Hey, Ladybug, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's such an honor.
Yes, I'm so excited that you're here. It is definitely my pleasure. And of course, I want to share a little bit about your property. Here we go. I want that your properties are fantastically beautiful. A lot of times people don't realize in other countries, the properties looks like a hotel is a hotel. So, and last but surely not least, the gentleman that is coming here is Mr. Aditya Prasad. We call him Adi because he's the man. Hello, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Hey, everyone.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, we want to share a little bit about your property with the water and the sun. You guys are at some beautiful properties. Are you kidding
me? Thank you.
You're very welcome. I am just blown away. I was looking up some of the photos, guys. I'm on my way to all 3 of you. That's just it. It's sold.
Always welcome.
Janine, simply I'm coming for those baby toes, but I am coming, guys. So how's it going there today? I know that your time difference is different than ours, and I appreciate you being here to make this happen today. Talk to me. How things going on property? What's some things that you all are dealing with right now?
Look, in Dubai, Expo is starting in just a couple of days, so it's picking up. It's getting really, really busy. The government just allowed 100% occupancy again, so it's getting crazy busy, and we're still, a little bit understaffed. With COVID, obviously, we had to lay off some stuff, and now we're starting rehiring, but it's taking time, and to train the team. So trying to do the best that we can.
Wow, you said expo. This is a huge event that's taking place, correct? It's art, it's in music. Is it like South by Southwest? Like, how is it?
Kind of, but on a, I would say, much larger scale. The entire city of Dubai is almost fully booked. The airports are packed, so it's really busy, and it's going over the next 6 months. So it's not just a weekend or a week event. No, it's 6 months, and prices are, of course, extremely high, and visitors are coming from all over the world. It's interesting, though.
Wow, that is amazing. So 100% occupancy. What's the occupancy like in you all's areas, Adi, Stephanie?
Well, in Germany, it's still kind of that the hotels are recovering from COVID because the restrictions are still quite on in regards the 5 feet apart and meeting areas, and in some states of Germany, they apply different rules to the hospitality than like in Bavaria. So it's kind of confusing for the guests, I would say, because they are living, for example, in Berlin, which is in the north of Germany, northwest, and then they're coming to here where we have stricter rules than they have at the moment. So it's as Janine said, a lot at the moment, but we're recovering. We're running at the moment around about at 50-60%, which is still not as we thought it would be at this time of the year, but we are hoping that it will get better month by month.
Very good. Wow, hoping the same. Adi, what about you?
So Abu Dhabi's been a bubble for the last year and a half. So they've been really strict on the restrictions. Being the capital, they didn't want to.
Your sound is going in and out. It's going in and out.
Can you hear me now?
And it's freezing all of a sudden. We want to get everything you're saying. I know it's important. Try again.
Brilliant. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, that's great. Yes, that's awesome.
Great. Abu Dhabi's been a bubble over the last year and a half or so, ever since COVID. And being the capital, they've been quite hesitant to kind of open up, which has taken a big hit on business. We've been through days when we're, not even hitting 10%. And we've also been on days when we reach 50-60%, but we don't have the staff for it. But at the end, we end up running 16-17 hours a day. But then the great thing is, finally this month, or at the start of this month, they actually announced they'd be opening up completely for vaccinated tourists.
Okay.
So anyone who is fully vaccinated, so that whoever has 2 doses can come into the country quarantine free, just has to take a PCR test on the 6th day. If you are coming, and then they have a green list, they have a list of countries that are on the green list, and these countries don't even have to take the PCR. So once you're in, you're in. But we still have a higher amount of restrictions in terms of the residents themselves have to get booster shots now. I myself just got the 2nd dose of Pfizer, and I had the first dose of Sinopharm already back in Jan. Additionally, we need to get tested twice a week, so we get 2 PCR tests a week, and for general, that's just because I'm in the service industry, but for general residents, you need to get tested once a month. Otherwise, you don't get the green on the app. So fully vaccinated plus a test every month to stay green, and that's the only way you can enter malls, restaurants, bars, and so on. So I mean, they've opened it up, but with precaution. But it's great. I mean, October on the books alone is looking amazing. So we're really rushing, with recruitment, getting people back on board, training, and kind of changing the psyche, because we're moving markets. So we're going back to the leisure, the luxury, the expatriates. So it's a very, very exciting time for Abu Dhabi.
That is amazing, guys. It's so good to hear that. I'm here in, like I was mentioning, in Huntsville, Alabama. And aside from the fact that in the United States, we hold the record for being the most unvaccinated state. Yeah. I've had
Congrats.
Yeah. I figured, hey, I am fully vaccinated, of course, and the booster has not necessarily been required just yet. Our hotel, all staff stays fully masked at all times still. We've had some very interesting people, #bad behavior, that have challenged our front desk. Those masks don't work. Why are you wearing that? That kind of thing. I can't hear you, that kind of thing. So we're still getting a little bit of that. We are open to being sold out, but we are primarily only sold out on weekends where there are games, because here, Alabama, University is here. So the big games are here, that type of thing. So we're definitely sold out for events, but I don't think that as a state, we are necessarily following suit to stay healthy. Now, yeah, that's just my personal feeling on it. But I am really excited just that we can even talk from Alabama all the way across the oceans to you guys. Do you all have any mandates as far as mask requirements still at your properties?
Yes.
Yeah.
All staff has to wear them, or
Yeah.
anyone entering?
No, like here,
we have gloves.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, in Munich, we have to wear masks as well as the guests.
Mhm.
They lifted the mask mandate from K95 mask to a normal surgical mask,
Okay.
like I think a month ago or so. But still, you have to always remind the guests that they have to wear the mask, because outside you don't have to wear the mask. When you're going in the restaurant, for example, you only need to wear a mask, and when you're being seated, or when you're using the restroom, or when you're leaving. But otherwise, it's pretty easy to have it reminded all the time to wear the mask. But yeah.
Right. Wow. And Adi, you were saying in your area with the masks?
So of course there's social distancing, but then yes, we have to wear masks at all times. Gloves for staff who are working in the service industry, and just generally around, we do have to have masks. It's not an option.
Right.
There is no choice, so to speak. Over here, opinions are always open, but at the end of the day, it's it's going to be you have to wear the mask. But now when you're working out, you don't have to, and when you're around the pool and beach.
Okay, that's good. You can't exactly swim with the mask on, huh? Did you do all the same, or you guys?
Exactly the same as Eddie said. Yeah, they just lifted the restrictions for pool, beaches, and when you exercise outside. But other than that, you have to wear a mask at all times.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm glad that all of us are taking personal responsibility and doing what we can to keep not just ourselves and our family, but also our guests safe, because people don't understand all that goes into hospitality and the sacrifices and the stories that we could tell. So that's why HospiTellTheTEA came along. So let's circle to it, guys. Let's talk about why we're here. Now, I did some reading, and of course, I'll give the whole precursor that none of us are immigration attorneys. We are speaking on our experience and the things that we have found. And I even want to put across the bottom of the screen just that we are not that, but that if people have information they'd like to find, they can go to travel.state.gov. It's the United States State Department, to find the most updated information that they may need. Okay. So we're just speaking on our experience. I want to find out what you guys did to be able to, how the process was. Like, what happened before you got to little old me in Austin, Texas? How long had each of you been in the industry? Was this a program through the Hilton Corporation? What interested you? How of Austin of all places? Just, I want to get some background. Tell the people in case there's someone that works with you now that eventually wants to try this.
Well, let me start.
Sure.
From my side or from all of us, we went with HRC International. It's an organization that helps you get a job, schedule interviews, and then also assists you in the whole visa process. So from my end, I did my hospitality diploma in Austria for 3 years, and I always knew I wanted to live in the amazing United States of America. So once I finished it, I started looking into the entire process. I found HRC International. I was really, really happy with their assistance, the service they provided, really genuine, and I felt really good, really well taken care of. So I went ahead with them, and once you apply, they will check your background, and then they will send you offers. So they ask you what kind of state you're looking at, what kind of hotel you're looking at, and they sent me San Francisco boutique hotel. Then they sent me Atlanta. I think it was IHG, and then Austin, Texas, and I checked all of the cities, the hotels. And Austin just sounded so much fun, and ultimately it was
so much fun.
It was an amazing experience. It was a year where we learned, we made mistakes, we had fun, we got to know amazing people, and we really got a real glimpse of the international hospitality industry, which for me was amazing. I would always do it again, and I can only recommend it to anyone.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, and you guys can help me if I'm wrong. I mean, I understand that there are so many different types of visas, right? There are visas where people come for specialized programs like medical and they're studying, but the J visa is like a temporary. So it allows you to come and kind of do training, that kind of thing, right? So is the requirement that you have to go back to your country for 2 years? Like, how did that work for you to, first of all, get here, Steffi, and then how did it work once you left?
So the process of getting here was actually, as Janine said, pretty easy, and the agency was very helping and assisting with everything, and it was I think pretty fast in my case. I think it only took, like, with visa and everything, an appointment at the embassy, I think it was like 3 months, and then I was already there. Wow. So kind of fast, if I'm remembering the right way. And then depending in which country you're living in and what country you're coming from, the going back, it's mandatory. So you need to leave after the 1 year, the 12 months of the visa. And then after it, in Germany, it's like you have a 2-year gap where you need to be somewhere else and get further in your career, evolve. And after 2 years, you can do it again, but you need to apply for a higher position. Oh. So like Eddie, Janine, me, we would have to apply for a front office manager since we started as an agent, and then through the year we grew into the supervisor role. So so the 2-year gap, it's mandatory. For other countries, I think it's more, or some don't have a gap at all. Yeah, but as Janine said, I fully enjoyed the year, and I think it's a once in a lifetime experience. And I think the bond what you create with the people living there and the hospitality, it's amazing. Like, I have still friends and the friendship is deep. So yeah, it was a once in a lifetime experience.
I'm so glad about that. Look, I just recently, Steffi, got rid of your curling iron. Okay.
Oh yeah, how did that? I needed it. You know,
that's all right. I'll buy you
in December. What should I do now?
Yes, I mean, like, you're right. Like, I love the fact that we can keep in touch, and I can see the baby and the gifts and the different things that are going on. I don't know where Adi went. His Adi, are you still there, sir? He's probably taking a call or something. But yeah, just being able to build those relationships. So with the visa process, you said, Steffi, it was about 3 months. Janine, was it about that amount of time for you, or did it go faster? Or
Yeah, no, it was, I think also 2 or 3 months. It was super, super fast. I think the longest wait was actually waiting for the appointment at the embassy, and that's it.
okay, so you have to go to the United States Embassy in your respective country to like answer questions and that type of thing. So the company you said, HRC, that wasn't necessarily through a program through Hilton. That was a company that helped you to get the J1 and to come over. So both of you use the same company.
Yeah, because the thing with the J1 visa is that you only can do it with hospitality through a company.
Okay.
So, for example, if you want to go through Hilton and they only pay you a visa if you're like in a higher position, like a general manager, or you're already in corporate positions.
I see. Okay, that's really interesting. So some of the requirements, what were some of the things that they would necessarily like look for? Like when you go to the embassy, I don't want you to answer anything that you're not supposed to answer. HospiTellTheTEA to get anybody in trouble. But what were some things like, were you nervous? Like, was it exciting? Like, what kind of questions do they ask? Like because this is really, really great. It's helping people to see it coming to the US, but eventually I want to talk to some people that are going from the US to other countries to help and to do things like this, because hospitality is universal. It's global. It's about treating people with respect. So what were the things that they kind of inquired about you all? Were there requirements that you had to have back at home, or?
Look, for me personally, it was a little bit intimidating at first, because obviously we were still very young, very experienced internationally, and then it was my first time at an embassy, right? So you're going through, I don't know how many security checks, you know.
Oh, goodness, please.
And I was waiting for my appointment like half an hour, and I come in to meet the gentleman, and he asked me like 3 questions: why you want to go, where do you go, and what are your plans after. So I told him, hey, I want to gain international experience. I got an offer within Hilton Austin, and of course after 1 year I'm going to return to Europe for another job, and that's it. Then he stamped it and he wished me good luck. Yeah.
Wow.
That was it. I think Janine said it pretty well. When I arrived in Munich at the embassy, it looks like a fortress. Like there are gates everywhere. You have security. They're wearing guns and stuff. And honestly, as a German, you're not used to that, because when you go like to a police station or like to another official office, there is security, but they're not armed.
I see.
And I think the interview was less was less heavy as I thought, because preparing the interview you also have to answer like a questionnaire with a lot of questions, like for example if you're in a cult, or if you have been involved with human trafficking, or if you ever had kidnapped someone and stuff like that. And I was like, shit, if they ask me those questions at the embassy or something else, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, most people that are criminals aren't going to say, yeah, I've been human trafficking.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in a cult. Yes, they're not going to admit to that. So like, how do you, that's interesting. I guess they have to at least say, well, we asked and you lied.
But a good tip, there are YouTube videos how to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How to go through the interview process and that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So once they stamp it, what's the turnaround time for you to be able to go to the other country? Does HRC, the company, tell you? Janine, you said you had been to Atlanta and some other places. Steffi, had you gone to any other places?
Actually, I almost had the same interviews what Janine had. The only difference is I think they also offered me Savannah, Georgia at a Marriott hotel.
Okay.
And then you have to interview, and afterwards Like I had to go from the Hilton from Ryan at that time, I think like 2 or 3 days after the interview.
Ryan.
And they gave me a start date, and then you have to book the flight and get the visa done, and then you're on the go.
Do those expenses for the flight and the visa, are they taken care of by the sponsoring? Okay, that's all you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
also you also have to pay a fee for the agency monthly during the year, which covers first the health insurance and second the fee for the agency as well. So it's like a package price.
Wow. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. Huh. So Adi, glad you're here, sir. We want to get you caught up in the conversation because it's nothing without you. The ladies were sharing about their J1 visa process. How was it when you had to do the interview and apply, and where were some of the places that you were at before you landed in Austin? Catch us up.
Okay, perfect. So I grew up in India, so I studied there. Then I moved to Switzerland, where I did my Swiss higher diploma, and I finished up with my bachelor's in the UK, so with the University of Abu Dhabi. So when I was a month due to graduate, at that time I started looking for jobs, and then J1 just came across, and it wasn't something that I'd specifically looked at, but it came across like a really interesting opportunity. In terms of interviews, I only interviewed with the Hilton Austin, and I still remember I interviewed with Vera. Who
she was in HR at one time, right? Farah?
No, she was the assistant director of
assistant director from.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was up in sales. I was like, hello. But go ahead.
Yeah, no. She I interviewed with her, and it was only with her actually. I didn't have another round or didn't interview with HR or anything like that. So yeah, but then I think it went over an hour long, maybe just because I talked too much, but it went over an hour long, and for me, I was convinced. I was like, this is the place I need to be. Plus, Austin, of course, keep Austin weird.
Yeah, that's right.
Like it seemed like a match made in heaven, so I was like, let's go. And it turned out to be an amazing experience from the get-go. Wow. So yeah, and I almost
go ahead.
Sorry. No, and I'll never forget interviewing with Vera, and there was a point where she said, we have other candidates, so why should we choose you? And I was like, because I turn up to play and I play to win. And
nice.
And 6 months in, she had me sit with her while she was interviewing someone, and then she asked the same question. I was like, "Oh, you remember my answer?" And she was like, "Dude, I almost didn't recruit you just because of that answer. You seem so cocky." And I was like, "But that is me, isn't it?"
But it was memorable, right? It wasn't just out of hand. It definitely made you stand out from the crowd. And I guess when you're interviewing, especially not just competing against people that are right here stateside, but coming from another country, it had to be something memorable. And clearly all of you guys were. So Adi, you didn't have to go to any other properties or anything like that. Basically, did you just pick Austin out of a lineup? Did they just tell you? Did you go through the HRC company as well? Or you said that it came across your desk. Did it come through HRC as well?
So it came through HRC. They had 3 properties lined up, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember the first round was with Austin, and for me personally, I'd already kind of set my mind on Austin because of the city itself, and because my sister actually lived in Eugene, in Oregon at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so keeping it weird runs in the family. So, yeah,
I love it.
So it was, and then it came along, and then that was the only interview I did with HRC, and no regrets. It was an amazing experience once I was on board.
Wow. So the ladies were saying that when they went to the embassy for the interview, one of the things that they were asking were like questions that a criminal would say, "Nah, I never done that," even though they have. Things like, "Have you been involved in human trafficking, sir? Are you just a Looney Tune?" Like, were those the same questions on your interview?
But Pam, let me just interrupt you. It was not during the interview at the embassy. It was the questionnaire. What you do get preparing for the interview at the embassy.
Okay, gotcha. So before you even come to the embassy and they sit down and waste their time, they want to know ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. That's kind of like, I need to know if your credit card will process this room before I give you a key. I get it. So tell me this. All of you come into Austin. What was the biggest thing that kept it weird, or the biggest thing that stood out? Just the culture shock. Was there anything that you can tangibly remember that was wild and crazy?
Naked people in the lobby at all times.
Wait, what?
It was code pink. Whenever there was a naked person in the lobby, we called security with the code pink.
Oh my gosh, that's what code pink was? Oh my God. With Austin with that hotel being so close to 6th Street. Whew.
It is legal though. So that was
it is.
And we had a church convention in town.
No.
I'll never forget a lady walking up to me, and she got even paler, and she went, "You need to call the cops. There's a topless woman right outside your hotel." And I remember Brianna, who's
legal.
And then Brianna comes over and she's like, "Excuse me, ma'am. I do understand that you're uncomfortable, but in Austin, by law, where a man doesn't have to wear a shirt, a woman doesn't." And I was like, I fell in love with the city. It's amazing.
That was the icing on the cake, huh?
For sure.
Is true. It is true. Austin, there's a parade every year. Now, I never see them advertising said parade. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is legal for both men and women to be topless in Austin. So what else, guys? I know it had to be some things that were different. Were there things that were culturally you all have lived in so many different parts of the world, which is amazing. Anything culturally that was like, ooh, that just is totally different? Because I know going to different properties, hospitality is what it is, but are there things that just made you go, wait, I need a little more clarity on that one? Nothing in particular?
Sometimes it's a little bit superficial as in other countries in the world. Everybody is like, "Hey, how are you doing?" It's like to your best friends, and let's hang out on the weekend. Let's do this, let's do that. But it ended up never really happening. And like for me, being German, if I say I want to hang out with you, I want to hang out with you. I'm not just saying it for the sake of it. So this was a little bit difficult for me, because I thought, hey, he really wants to hang out on the weekend, so I'm getting ready, and then there's no reply anymore, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Weird for me.
That I can see that. That would be pretty disconcerting, especially if someone has initiated that and you're in a country where you don't know a lot of people and they say, "Hey, let's hang out." You're like, "Okay, that's great. We got plans." And that's not good. I would charge it to the person and not to the country, because I hang out with you anytime. So, were there things when you come through the J1 process and you come to another country, do they have requirements as far as your fluency in the language or anything of that nature? Do they?
Yeah, they do. The agency calls you before you have the interview to do like a interview to see how good your English is, how good the skills are, and then they can go further from that. Because I think if you would do the J1 with no English skills, I think it might be pretty hard. And especially working in the front desk, you have to have English skills. I mean, if you would work in F&B in the kitchen, it might be a different, there might be a difference, because you still can learn it, and
you're not front facing with guests
exactly. And I think that's why you always have like a tryout interview with the agency first, and the whole process from the agency is also in English, so there's no communication in your mother language. And that was kind of scary in the beginning, because of course the longer you live somewhere where you don't speak English, like I can tell at the moment that like during COVID, less international guests, less traveling, less English speaking. Yeah, my English got worse, but I'm still like, handling it and trying to
Yeah.
get back to where I was. Yeah, but it's mandatory, especially if you work in front desk, to have at least a fluent English.
So could you all ever do the J1 process again, or is it a one and done type thing?
No, you can redo it. You just need to come back or apply for a higher position.
Okay, so that's when you apply for a higher
Yeah,
position.
and there are a few openings with HRC International for an 18-month training. It's for front office management. So you work basically as an assistant front office manager and train like how to lead the department and with all the administration stuff, scheduling and so on.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm pulling up the website for HRC International just in case anyone's interested in possibly coming to a great city, here in the US. It's definitely really interesting. When you went back after being in the US for a year, Adi, how was it when you went back? Was there things you were like, okay, let me simmer down, people not walking around shirtless anymore? What's going on?
No, it was. I mean, of course, I was gonna miss it. I mean, it was like I said, it was a great experience all around. I made a really nice. I mean, or I went for a really nice trip with my sister.
Eugene?
Yeah, so we did the Oregon and Washington, and I fell in love with Portland and Seattle, and so it was a really nice end to the year in the States. Of course, coming back home, it was a different ballgame because I hadn't been home as well in a while because it was, it was just short periods of time. So I got to take a break and kind of spend a good 2 or 3 months before finding something else and then ending up in this sandbox. So, yeah.
So what's the weather like right now where you guys are? Abu Dhabi? Go ahead.
It's getting better now. So,
okay.
Yeah, now you can
It's
sit
still
on
40 degrees though.
What'd you say?
It's still 40 degrees Celsius during the day, so it's getting better.
And Adi and Janine, you're about what, 2 hours distance apart, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Okay. And Steffi, how's it there?
Well, now it's getting also cooler. We're at 15 degrees Celsius. Paul is in his shoes. The leaves are turning, and sadly this summer was not as good as last year. We had a lot of rain, but autumn comes and I'm prepared. Let's say it that way.
Okay, prepared is good. So one question to kind of wrap it up: what advice would you give some of your colleagues or people in other countries that are looking at finding ways to come to the United States? I know, Janine, you said you knew that you wanted to live in the US. So people that may not know as much about the US, but that are colleagues of yours, what would you say if each of you had to give a talk on the J1 process, on going to another country? What are some things you would specifically tell them? The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. There we go.
For me, honestly speaking, it's expensive. It wasn't cheap to do this whole J1 process with the visa, the flights, and the fees whatsoever. But these experiences are worth any money. Like this year was really, really amazing. We had so much fun all together, and I would do it all over again. Use HRC International. It was an amazing agency to help us, and just go for a year and live your dream.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Love it. Dubai. Who's next?
Well, sure. Then I go. As Janine said, save money for it. It's not very cheap to do it. But as I said already before, it's a once in a lifetime experience. Be open-minded and enjoy the year. You won't regret it.
Fantastic. And what about you, Adi?
Yeah, no, I think open-mindedness just sums it up. Keep an open mind, because once you're there, it's going to be different cultures. It's going to be different socioeconomic backgrounds. It's going to be different perspectives. So it's really going to, I don't know, if you keep an open mind and take everything as it comes, you're just going to have, and just go along with the ride. You're going to have a great time. And from a career standpoint, you learn a lot of things. I mean, maybe I can talk for the property itself in Hilton Austin. Like, the culture that they have there is just one of a kind.
Like no other.
Yeah, I haven't experienced it since, it was just a great experience, and I think I met the two of them, which is amazing. And I'm long overdue for a trip to meet Janine and her baby, though we've been talking quite a bit on WhatsApp, and she's been sharing pictures. So yeah, so I met, and you also meet friends for life, so it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
It's really great. One question that just popped in my mind, and you guys can answer. I know that sometimes in other countries you call certain things, like you call the restroom something different in the US than you call it in another country or whatever. What were some skills because you did front desk in Austin and you are in that same caveat in the hotel you're at now, what were maybe some things that you learned in the US that you took back to your respective country and property?
I learned what Uber is.
Yeah.
I came to the US, I had no clue.
Oh wow! Yeah. So is Uber in your area now, or I mean something?
Yeah, now it is, but at that time it wasn't. Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Okay, you were like, this just comes to pick you up and it just takes you where you want to go? Like what?
I had a salt comment. My first silver member complaining about me. Apparently I don't understand English, he said. I just didn't understand Uber, what do you want from
right. Me? Well, lady. Oh my gosh, that's interesting, because I know at one time in Austin, were you all still there for a year when they like stopped Uber?
Yes.
Okay, so then during that time, I mean, it's not even going on, lady. So I know a perfect English. What are you talking about? Anything else that was just really interesting? I bet people were clamoring to find out what you learned in the US.
So I think for me, and this is something that I've really taken forward, is hospitality was always conventional before that. Even the way I was educated, the places I'd worked, it was very conventional style of hospitality. And then Hilton Austin really brought me into my element and really took me to where, I see hospitality and the way that I really like, the way I practice hospitality, which is, being yourself, bringing in, going away from, the sir, the ma'am, the miss, the missus, and creating that personalized interaction. And to date, I mean, I work in a Park Hyatt, which is very, it's a very traditional brand, but at the same time, you don't see me wearing a shirt or a tie, and I'm wearing sneakers to work, and it kind of embodies. And the good thing is, I've worked with brands which allow me to embody who I am, so I can still keep the beard while other, Park Hyatts don't. And this is something that I really got from Hilton Austin itself, where you can be yourself, but at the same time provide luxury, personalized service.
Oh, I love it. I say that too, because it's so interesting. And a total shout out to our former GM, Robert Lewis. He was just the best. Ryan Kinch, Justin Garner, all these people, Heidi Brazil, just amazing people. B. Jaramillo. I mean, it was just amazing how they led that hotel. It wasn't just a staff meeting. It was a CVR rally. It was a care, value, respect. And when they talked about the open door policy, it was actually open. His door was actually open. And we really learned a lot. And I think Austin as a city was really embracing to that relaxed and get to know people. And I'm going to call you by your first name when you come down. Hey, how are you? As opposed to yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, because our industry is one that takes a special kind of person. a special kind of person. I always in my shows, and you guys don't know this because usually the guest is not at the very end, but I always ended with the fact that Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you did for them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And that is big, big, big for me. So I am so glad you all were here. Thank you for your time, taking time from your life, your family, your little people. I just adore you all. And I'm so glad that we have kept in touch through the years. Look at this. Hospitality keeps people in touch all over the globe. It's kind of like being around the world and So if you end up doing a J1 anywhere else or doing anything else, call on me. I'd love to talk about the situation and how things are going. If there's any big things going on in your country, your respective hotel, let me know. I'd love to have you on for a couple minutes, a segment, and just tell about it. Give us an update. So thank you all so much for being here on Hospital the Tea. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And I love your energy.
Just imitate from great people. I love people. And that's why this industry is totally for me, because I totally love people and glitter. People and glitter. So the important things. So I wish you all a great evening in Munich, in Abu Dhabi, and Dubai, and you all have a fantastic evening. I will definitely be in touch with you right after to give you this and let you see the whole show. I adore you. Thank you all so much for sharing more with people here on Hospital the Tea about your experience with the J1 visa process and coming to the United States and how it really opened your heart, opened your mind, and advanced your career. I appreciate that. Something that people don't think about in hospitality, but it goes on. You guys have a great evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Wow, guys, that was so amazing. So interesting to be able to talk to people from all over the world. Hospitality brings you together. And it is really amazing. Some of the things that you don't think about. As the shows go on, I'm going to talk about some United States citizens that did the same exchange program to other countries to learn about the hospitality industry, whether they were training with other airlines or training with other hotels or anything of that nature. It's really interesting, some of the things that they shared about. She didn't know about Uber and all of that. Like, it was just a great experience. Again, just letting you all know, the J1 process, we are not attorneys. We're not immigration attorneys in any way. We're just sharing information that we have learned. And on the screen, you will see the United States State Department, the website, www.travel.state.gov. It keeps you updated on everything regarding visa process, immigration process, things of that nature. Of course, you want to seek an immigration attorney if you need something on that lines, but it keeps you updated, especially now that we're amidst a pandemic as well. So the company that each of them shared that was extremely helpful to them, if you are in another country and you'd like to try coming to the United States for a year temporary visa exchange program, like on a J visa. J is the temporary. One has to do with the nature of the business that you're coming. You're here to train, or you're something like that. You're shadowing someone. But the company they mentioned was HRC, and I have that website here on the screen as well, www.hrc-international.com. I definitely thank all of my friends, definitely Steffi in Munich, and the beautiful Janine, the beautiful Stephanie in Munich, and the beautiful Janine in Dubai, and of course, the handsome Adi in Abu Dhabi. All of these are great places that I eventually plan to visit. So thank you for being here for that segment. So segment 3, y'all know about it. Y'all know about it. You have gotten to the point where you kind of look for it. I've gotten some really interesting emails and things, and you can send them to HospiTellTheTEA to let me know what experiences you have had in the hospitality industry. Now, it's not just Keeping in mind, it's not just hotels or flights and things like that, but it is a lot that's going on in the industry. So I want to tell you the tea. Now, I actually took the time to go on to urbandictionary.com and I made sure that I looked up what telling the tea is, right? Because people say, oh, girl, are you telling the tea? You telling the tea. Well, according to urbandictionary.com, the tea is basically exclusive drama or something about a specific person that a few people know of. Well, here on Hospital the Tea, we are expanding that definition because it's not necessarily exclusive, because the information that we share is not about a specific person. Well, it is about a specific person, but it is information that is already out in the news. So we want to tell the tea on what's going on. So now in Tell the Tea, I want to share with you an example of another hashtag behaving badly. Guys, we're still in a pandemic. Hospital the Tea is intended to put a face to hospitality so that when you go to these counters or you get on this airline, you are being kind, because those are human beings first and foremost. But another example of behaving badly. There was a JetBlue flight, right? They went from Boston to Puerto Rico. Now, I love Puerto Rico. I've been, it's beautiful, gorgeous, Boston, all of that. So the flight was going from Boston to Puerto Rico. And this happened less than 2 days ago. Yeah, allegedly, a person on the flight by the name of Khalil Eldar got upset after he was trying to make a cell phone call on the plane and the call didn't go through. So naturally, what most people do is just say, okay, whatever's going on is not that important. I'll wait till we land. I'll use my cell phone then. I mean, I'm on a flight. They tell you to turn your phone off anyway. So I can't remember if they actually had landed or anything like that. But because this call didn't go through, this man allegedly took his tie off and choked a flight attendant with the necktie and yelled that he wanted to be shot while trying to break into the cockpit. He yelled that it was a JetBlue flight 261, and he yelled it in Spanish and Arabic that he wanted to be shot while he was trying to choke the flight attendant and kick in the cockpit door. Like, you are doing the most, sir. Sit down somewhere, behaving badly, doing things like that. You're choking a human being because your cell phone didn't go through. Maybe there's more to this story, but that's pretty much all they've released right now. And I think that when they release certain things, they release kind of the high points. So the high points of this story, sir, are that you couldn't make a call, so you took off your clothes, aka your tie, and tried to choke another human being and kick in the door to get to the people who fly the plane that you're currently on and yell, kill me in Spanish and Arabic. What is going on with people? I just don't understand what was going on. Like on JetBlue, another situation that happened just last month, a passenger was fined $45,000 for putting his head up a flight attendant's skirt. Now, this is per the FAA. This person had the audacity to put their head up a flight attendant's skirt. What are you doing? And they were fined $45,000. If you want to look at that story, go to www.faa.gov/unruly. Because the FAA is cracking down on people that are behaving badly and doing different things to people on these flights, because the airline attendants are having the amazing amounts of stress. Like, you think our medical field is stressed? They are tremendously. And there are so many other fields that are being just worn down. Another situation This is not JetBlue this time. JetBlue, for the example one and example two of telling the tea, you are now off the hook. But Frontier Airlines, honey, let's just give a little backstory. Frontier Airlines had 3 federal bailouts that basically come from your tax money. And they have been reported to say that they were doing a horrible job refunding guests and, customers, because if they had something go wrong on the flight or the flight was canceled due to COVID, they weren't refunding people, or they were waiting 3 and 4 months. Now, it's amazing. It's always amazing to me how I have even had this with personal experience where I have paid for something and the money will come out of my account while I'm standing there. But if I am due a refund, oh, it takes time. It takes 5 to 7 days. It takes 30 days, that kind of thing. But Frontier Airlines had, reputation of being horrible at refunding customers. So they had 3 federal bailouts that come from your tax dollars. Now, how come they impose, like, you have to read the fine print, guys, when you're traveling on these flights and whatever, there are different taxes that are imposed to you. Frontier Airlines imposed what was called a COVID recovery charge. It had been in place for a month, and on June 22nd, a blogger put it out there and was like, wait a minute, I'm looking at my ticket, I'm looking at everything that I was charged for. What is this COVID recovery charge? What are you recovering from when you got 3 federal bailouts that came from my tax dollars? So what is going on? People said it was offensive. They said because it was a poor handling of the people during the pandemic. It was poor handling of the massive taxpayer bailouts that they got, because it was reported that the 3 federal bailouts that Frontier Airlines got, that they spent it on masks and wipes. With 3 federal bailouts, I don't know about you guys, but I can definitely get masks and wipes because that's necessary. But I can do some other things that will help the people feel safer traveling, or to even upgrade the flights while they are grounded or anything like that. I don't know all of that. So I'm again saying I'm not an attorney, but letting you know that was crazy. So the cost, I know that's what you're sitting there thinking. You're like, wait a minute, how much was it? Was it really that major? Well, in the scheme of things, it wasn't a huge cost. And per the Department of Transportation, it's technically legal. The COVID recovery fee is technically legal because it does fall under the other taxes that airlines are allowed to charge. So the cost seems little. This is $1.59 per passenger per segment. So basically, each segment is considered departure to land and then departure to land, right? So $1.59, so roughly a little over $3, right, per person. But say it's 100 people on your flight that fly 6 and 7 times a day, and they're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And you basically have paid this charge 3 times. Because remember, during the federal bailout, that went to them, right? You bought the ticket that was non-refundable. You paid for the bailout. And then now you're paying more for the ticket because the prices are high. So you're basically paying the charge 3 times. So instead of, if you have a flight that's direct each way, you basically paid for it $9 or $10 or something each time. So, the thing that I thought was interesting was that the wipes and the mask were still the same, y'all. They didn't get fancy a mask or nothing. But yeah, that's telling the tea. But yeah, they have since, due to the pressure, Frontier Airlines has decided, okay, we don't need your $3. You can go ahead and keep it. So that's very kind of them. But the last thing that I want to talk about on Tell the Tea is what someone wrote in and told me. A dear, dear friend of mine that has been friends with me for over 2 decades. She knows me. She knows that I want to find out the bits of information and the things that are going on all over the globe because, some call it nosy. I call it telling the tea. I call it telling the tea. So I'm going to show you something. I want you to see something so that it's not just me. I want to know what you think about this. Okay, people? First, look at this. Look really closely. Look at all the beautiful things on the menu. Now, just letting you know, this is not a slight to the, trying to be a slight to the restaurant. It's just calling something out that's on the menu that people brought to my attention. Are you looking at the menu? I'm sure you can tell, basically, it's a seafood restaurant. There are things on there. Did you notice something that was really interesting? Something that stood out to me that made me go, wait, I'm sorry, what? Let me make it a little closer. Soups. Lobster bisque served with chunks of lobster meat for an additional $3. Wait, it's called lobster bisque soup, but I got to pay for the lobster part? What? Where they do that at? Like lobster bisque soup, you're expecting it to already come with lobster. You're already expecting the lobster, but I got to pay more. So without me paying that additional $3, honey, what is it? Just bisque? Is it cream of mushroom soup? Is it she crab soup? What is it? Why don't you just put on the menu lobster bisque soup, $11, and just go from there? And let people decide if they want to order lobster bisque soup. It's the only thing that was on the menu that made you pay more. What kind of what? I don't understand, honey. That's a hashtag what the what for me. But I know that that would be something that would make me question things in a major way. So that is telling the tea on that situation. That menu is just really confusing. At any rate, guys, this is going to wrap up yet another episode of Hospital the Tea. On this episode, we went and found information out about the J1 visa. We got information on different flights that are coming out and transatlantic flights that are starting. We talked to people from Munich, from Abu Dhabi, from Dubai. In hospitality, you meet people all over the world. And the one common thing is, just as Maya Angelou said, and I say at the end of every episode with hospitality, Dr. Angelou said, people will forget what you did for them. They will forget what you did for them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Thank you so much for being a part of yet another episode of Hospital the Tea. And every time you say it, I want you to say it like that, Hospital the Tea. Thank you for being part of another episode. We look forward to you joining us as we grow bigger and better. We are looking at, I am looking at transitioning to live shows, so that you can give your feedback and I can talk to you directly while the show is going on. You can ask the guests questions and things of that nature. I would love to know what you think about that. If we move to live shows, it's more probable that we will move to maybe Monday evenings or Thursday evenings. I'm looking at what that would look like for the show and how it would help the viewer base. But we definitely want to do that. I want to let you know that I have some amazing guests lined up. Guys, I want to let you know, if you have a product that would benefit the hospitality industry in any way, anyone that's traveling, or you have a product or service, I would love to profile it on Hospital the Tea. I'd love to be able to share about it. So inbox me at the email address that's scrolling across the screen, hospitalthettea@gmail.com. I'd love to know not just your experiences in hospitality, but I'd love to know the products and services that are out there to help people sweeten their travel and hospitality experiences. Everything from something that will help to interpret different languages or help people with learning disabilities when they check in hotels. Speaking of which, the guests that I have coming, I have guests coming that do private charter parties in the water, the clearest blue water. I have people coming to give you insight on planning family reunions through the Family Planning Reunion Institute, the only one of its kind in the nation. I have people that are going to come. They are HR professionals and give you tips and feedback on buzzwords that when you're applying for jobs, especially in the hospitality industry, that may or may not cut your resume completely out. I have people that are coming that I'm hoping to get these two people that will talk to us about how they do the planning for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, as well as for the Rose Bowl and the Rose Parade. I want to talk to people who plan NFL. A shout out to my Baltimore Ravens, who won this week. They played Kansas City Chiefs. We won. A point is a win. But yeah, so there's a lot coming on Hospital the Tea, and I really want you all to be present. Please be sure to share. Join my YouTube page. If you are watching this on YouTube right now, click like, click share, and let me know that you're there. Again, I thank you so much for being a part of yet another episode of Hospital the Tea, and you have a great day. Goodbye.